Welcome to Real Love, Real Stories, the podcast, a platform for couples to share their love stories and for singles to find hope. I'm Kanu, I'm the host, and you are tuning into episode number 8. And I want to introduce my couple for episode 8. I have Scott and Tawnya. Enjoy their love story. Welcome, Scott and Tawnya, to episode 8. And thank you so much for being a part of this.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you both know, this podcast is about couples sharing their love story. So let's start off by you guys explaining to us and telling us how your love journey began.
It was a while back.
Long time ago.
How many years ago?
It will be 26 in December.
Oh my goodness.
So we met in high school. I was a freshman and he was a senior. And I had a Spanish class in an outbuilding that he had an economics class in. And we, met along the walk out to those classes or high school. And then one day he called me out of the blue and asked me to go to a movie. And I was like, what? Because I had no idea that he was interested in me. And we started talking and met at the Christmas dance. And I wasn't really allowed to date because I was a freshman and he was a senior. But my parents met him and they're like, well, he's really sweet. And so we started going together as high schoolers. Back then, the way that he asked me to be his girlfriend was he left 6 yellow roses and 6 pink roses on my porch on Christmas Day with a card that had these 2 ice skaters on it. And when you opened it, they came together and it said, will you, be my one and only. It was so sweet.
Oh my gosh, that's so cute.
Yeah, so that's how we started dating way back.
Oh, you're high school sweethearts.
We are, yeah.
Oh, that's so awesome. I love that because there's no question at all whether, you're in a relationship or not. He said it right there and it's it's either yes or no, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Scott, how was that for you? So you were walking, going past each other between classes.
Yeah.
Tell me from your perspective, you saw her, what did you think?
Well, a friend of mine pointed her out to me and then I couldn't stop noticing her after that. Luckily she is friends with one of my friends, somebody I knew from the neighborhood that I'd known for years, was one of her friends. So I kind of had an in that way. And apparently her friend kind of liked me. So it was sort of like a bait and switch kind of thing, I guess. But I would walk with both of them and I was nervous, but maybe she couldn't tell. I don't know.
So do you remember what movie you watched? You talked about he asked you and said
I don't remember. I think I was so nervous during the movie that I wasn't watching the movie.
Your other friend went.
Yeah, I had to take a friend to the movie with me.
I don't remember anything about the movie.
Because I was young, 14, and I don't remember, honestly. I was kind of looking at him the whole time and then wondering what he was thinking and was nervous. So I had no idea what movie it was.
And my parents had 2 cars. I didn't have a car, but my mom had this little two-seater sports car, and then we had a minivan, and I wanted to take the cool car, but they made me take the minivan. This was my first time ever taking anybody out. So, I get there with the minivan, with the mom-mobile, and then take her and her friend to this movie.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, it was an interesting start.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so awesome. Oh my gosh, that's so cute. So how long did you date before you got engaged? What was the process from that to?
Well, I was a senior, she was a freshman, so all through her high school, we were just hanging out. I would actually find any way I could to spend time with her, so I would get up early in the morning. Even though I was a college student, I didn't have to get up until later, but I would get up early in the morning, take her to school every day, and then, then, I don't know, that happened for years. And we'd hang out on the weekends, maybe after school.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got engaged when I was 19. So we, dated for a while. I was still pretty young to get engaged. And we got married when I was 20 and he was 24. And it was actually when we got engaged, I was in college at that point. He was in his last year of college, I think. Yeah. And the way that we got engaged was he took me to this restaurant it was actually on February the 13th. So it was a Friday the 13th because I think we both had to work on Valentine's Day. So we were celebrating a day early. Okay. And because, we were college students and we had to work, jobs to help pay for things. And so actually what happened was we were at dinner and I went to the bathroom and I came back and there was this huge bouquet of red roses, long stem, on the table. There was 2.
No.
And everybody was staring at me.
Yeah, because the whole restaurant kind of figured it out that, because it was a pretty big display of 2 giant bouquets.
Right.
So it sort of got everybody's attention, and when she came out, it got really quiet.
I was like, why is everyone looking at me? And then I see these huge bouquets, and he's on his knees, and he had made like a sign that said, "Will you marry me?" And it was so sweet.
I knew I was going to get choked up, so I had to write something down just in case. So my backup plan became the way that I asked her.
Yeah. And this is before, Pinterest and all of those things. So it was beautiful, though. And he gave me a ring and asked me to be his wife. And I said, yes.
Oh, that's so cute. So what happens in the restaurant? Everybody was quiet. They're all watching this happening.
Yeah, there was applause.
Yeah, they clapped for us. And it was really cool. The manager came over and he had been really weird, like prior to that, that whole day. And I'm like, what is wrong? Are you sick? Like, what's going on? You're like really off. And now I know why.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cute. So, okay. So then how long after that did you stay engaged and then had the wedding?
We were engaged for a year. We were engaged February 13th of 98, and we were married February 27th of 99. And my eyelash, yeah. And then but I should mention during the time that we were engaged, I mentioned I was in college. I did a study abroad in Europe. Okay. So, I planned a wedding, went to Europe. He was still in Portland where we're from. And I was overseas. And, during that time frame, we didn't have like social media, or it wasn't easy to contact home. If you called home, it was really expensive. Email even wasn't a big thing. So we didn't have a ton of contact while I was in Europe.
Oh, wow. How long were you in Europe?
Just over 3 months. I traveled around and then did the study abroad at the University of London.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, and then came back and we got married on my winter break. It was like a long weekend and we got married. So it was awesome.
What makes your relationship work?
Well, probably my really good understanding. I would say, there's a lot that is difficult about a relationship. So, and I guess when all the stereotypes of difficulty in relationship, I think we have them.
Mm-hmm.
So what makes it work is really several things, like, talking about when we accidentally hurt each other, or, um, having grace and forgiveness for those times. And I think a lot of patience, a lot of trying to make it okay to be different, because we're very different.
Polar opposites.
And, trying to keep ourselves from making those differences wrong.
Right.
Those are the things that have, over time, really been the key things. Plus a lot of sex.
I also think, like, we've put in a lot of hard work into our relationship, because we've gone through different seasons of life. Like, we've gone through some really great seasons, and we've gone through some, seasons that are really hard. And, I think a lot of couples that have been in some of the situations that we've encountered would have just called it quits. But we, like, the hard work that we've done and we continue to do, and we do put a focus on the relationship. I think what you focus on is where you're going to see growth.
Right.
And when you take your focus off of growing and, being in the relationship, then, which we've done in the past, things start happening. And we try to be intentional about our relationship, even though we have 3 kids that keep us on our toes. We own 2 businesses that are, quite busy. They're in seasons of growth, but we still make our relationship a top priority.
Yeah, that's awesome. So Scott, you brought this up. Now I'm gonna have to ask.
What?
I want to ask about your personal sexual life, but I've heard that when people have been married as long as you guys have been, that the sex life is one of the things that goes pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So it sounds like it's not the case for you guys, but what do you think about that whole subject of sex?
I think it's really important. I mean, let me disclaimer that, we've seen everything in our own relationship. We have experienced rock bottom. We have experienced highs. I do consider us, even with everything that Tawnya said, we do work hard on stuff. I do consider us pretty lucky. It's not, I think you can do everything right, but still end up, not having a fairy tale or whatever. Right. So I think a little bit of luck also plays in. But as far as what she said is true, like, when it comes to sex, that's one thing that is really important. And in our life, in our married life, we've let that not be so important. Mm-hmm. We've kind of swept it under the rug. We've ignored it. We've, been frustrated. Both of us have been frustrated for different reasons. And we've made it a priority mm-hmm. to make that a priority, and it's something just like everything else. It's something you have to be intentional about. And we have been really intentional about it. And it's something where we still work on everything, and we definitely work on that. We're always trying to grow in the area of sex, passion, desire, eroticism, all of that stuff.
Right.
You're right. Most couples don't do, but in my opinion, sex is the glue of a long-term relationship. I mean, it's the only thing that separates any other relationship you have. And so if that goes away, it's not a love relationship anymore.
Right.
At least, I mean, you can have, I know older couples, very old couples, elderly couples who sex becomes less important, and they have more of that, that agape love and not so much of the eros love. And,
Right.
you know, that's important too, obviously. I mean, we're not there yet, so I don't know. We'll see when we get there. But from what I've heard from older couples is it doesn't become such a priority someday, but for us it really is. And we know that when we're having a lot of sex, we get along better, and when we're not, we tend to have a little bit of an edge to us, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, thanks for sharing this. You guys are the first couple that I have talked about sex with, you know. So I appreciate you being open to talking about it. I actually want to do at some point a whole episode about sex. So
sign us up for that one.
I will keep you guys in mind for sure.
Yeah, we're an open book with that because nobody talks about it. And then people are suffering in silence and they're thinking they're the only one that's struggling with these issues. But so many people, you know, they don't want to talk about it. They're ashamed.
Right.
And we, you know, so we are open if people ask because we want to be able to, you know, share authentically like what's helped our relationship. And
yeah,
we have been having sex for lots of years. But definitely we're having the best sex of our lives, you know, in recent years. And hopefully, I don't know, and it's like layers of onion. How amazing can it get? I mean, it feels like it's amazing, but I keep saying it's even better. So we're always looking for the next level.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm sure there are a lot of couples that, you know, might want to chat with you about that and ask for advice to sort of help them in their relationships as well. So if you're open to that, we can always ask people, you know, send them your way to have that discussion. Because you're right, Tawnya, this is something that people don't talk about a lot. So yeah, so if I may switch gears just a little bit, how about, you know, as you guys have been married for 20 years, what are some of the little things that maybe you deal with each other, some annoyances between the two of you that that you probably wouldn't deal with if you were not in love?
Well, I have to confess that recently I've gotten myself in trouble because we are a bit in the public with our own businesses and stuff, and so I've used that exact topic for examples, and then I may have overstepped my bounds a few times recently. So I'm going to tread really carefully right now, and I'm going to let her go. You can say whatever you want.
Well, I can tell you what Scott gets annoyed by. I leave the almond butter out pretty much on a daily basis with the knife and a paper towel because I make this particular snack. And Scott is super organized, very clean, very OCD. And I'm probably what you call kind of a mess, like hot mess. I am, you know, one of those people that starts a task and then I'm starting another task. And so I might be making something and I'm making something over here and these little messes happen. I clean them up eventually, but I'm not as, you know, what he uses is when I leave the almond butter out, because I do it pretty much every day with the knife and everything. And it's gotten to the point where even the kids are like, Mom, Dad's gonna see that. So we joke. I mean, we joke about it, but I would say that that's probably the biggest thing is that he is, you know, I'm constantly, another thing that I do that I know kind of drives him crazy, but he did a solution for it was I tend to lose car keys. And when I lose my car keys, I just go take his car keys, but then I lose those. So he got those little tiles, those square tiles from Amazon and puts them on those. And so now when I lose my car keys, he pops his phone out and finds.
That's awesome.
But as far as he goes, I think the biggest thing is probably the flossing. Scott is one of those people that flosses like every day, sometimes twice a day, but he flosses out in like the living room or while he's talking to you and there's like food. clicking, and I'm just like, oh, disgusting. So, but it's, you know, we kind of joke about it.
It's not good foreplay, I've learned.
Yeah, I'm like, if you're looking for something tonight, like, you better go do that in the bathroom.
That is so funny. You know, I never actually talked about the reasons why I asked this question. I was married before, and my ex-husband would, you know, take a shower and scrunch the shower curtain and just leave it like that. And I, for whatever reason, I like to draw it back so it nicely dries, and it, you know, my shower curtain usually has a design on it. So I want that to be shown. And it used to drive me nuts. Like, it became this source of our fighting, was this shower curtain. So I'm always interested in hearing from couples, like, what is the one thing that drives you nuts about, you know, that you deal with in a relationship? So that, I wanted to put a little context as to why I asked that question.
Yeah, we love that question. We ask it all the time with couples we work with. And it's an important thing, because what we think is, and what we found is, you know, if you let that stuff bother you, it really can be frustrating and aggravating and painful. And so we try to get ourselves over that stuff and just kind of make a joke out of it. And and we try to encourage others to do that too.
Yeah. So the flip side of that, what is the one quality that you love about each other?
Do you want to go first or me? I think I think for me is that Scott's very steady, like very steady emotion. He's very solid, like rock solid. And so I have kind of emotions, you know, all over the map, and he just brings like that sense of stability and calmness.
Yeah.
And so I really appreciate that, because it, you know, it'll instantly like usually calm me down.
And I could probably go on a long list, but what really comes to mind is, you know, I say this a lot. If I didn't marry Tawnya, my life would look pretty dark. I would probably have a steady job. I would come home, turn on the TV, eat nachos and ice cream in front of the TV, and go to bed, and do that every single day. And people might invite me out to things, and I would not go, because naturally my bent is to not be social, to not be externally processing. I just kind of like to just be in my own world. And she brings such life and light to my world, and
you make me cry.
and I just love, I mean, just looking at her smile in her face. I mean, it says it all. And that's the way she is. Her personality just lights up a room, and that brings a lot of spice and flavor to my world. And, you know, and there's, as she was saying, there's emotion all over the board. You know, it can be a storm, or it can just be happy-go-lucky. But if you want that passionate kind of person, you got to take that whole spectrum. And I've really learned to appreciate all of it. And, you know, it's an exciting, passionate world with her.
Oh, that's so awesome. And, you know, kudos to you for being able to, for both of you actually, for being able to say that out loud. One of the things that I've learned from couples is that they feel the same way that you feel, but they can't express it in such a beautiful way, the way that you both expressed about each other. So, I mean, kudos to you guys for that, for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's those things that are, you know, that drive us crazy about each other. Also, you know, like you said, then a little annoyances, but they're also the things that bring us the greatest joy in our relationship.
Yeah.
Because like he said, he would be, you know, sitting, eating nachos and ice cream every day. And I would probably just be out traveling. I probably would have no stability in my life. I would have no money because I would spend it all on stuff, and it would just, it'd be chaotic, and you really need both. So they ground you together. And it's really fun and exciting. Keeps it interesting.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So if just based on what you were saying, it sounds to me that you are into eating healthy, into exercising, and into going out and about and enjoying each other's company in a social setting outside of your home. Is that about right?
Yeah, and we also love traveling.
Okay.
Like, I mentioned in the beginning, I went to Europe. I had been, at that point in my life, I had been to Tijuana, Mexico, which is not, just across the California border. I had been to North Dakota to visit family and really hadn't been anywhere else except for where we lived. And my dream was to travel. And Scott's like, well, what? Why would you want to do that? And we started traveling after we were married, and he fell in love with it. And so we actually travel quite a bit. It's something that our family really enjoys doing.
That's great. What's been your most favorite or memorable vacation that you've taken as a family?
As a family, it's been Europe.
Europe.
We spent a couple months in Europe. We actually packed up the house and moved out, and didn't promise we were coming back. We didn't know if we were going to come back. So we spent a couple months over there, France and Italy, and just kind of, we went and didn't plan on coming back. And then eventually we realized we really wanted to come back.
Yeah.
All of her parents, my parents, all of our extended family is all here in this local area in Portland.
Oh, okay.
So we realized, our oldest was, just over 10 at the time. And we were reflecting about the decade and what's coming up in the next decade. And we realized we really want our kids to be rooted with their family, with their grandparents, and get them through school. And then see where we go from there. But we kind of long-term dream about being all over the world after our kids kind of get through school.
Gotcha.
But we have to mention our favorite trip as a couple.
Yes.
Punta Cana.
Yeah, the Dominican Republic. We had an amazing trip there. It was, the beaches were beautiful. The room was gorgeous.
That has been by far the most romantic. And it was also not just the most romantic, definitely the most erotic place we've had.
Yeah, it was really
because
cool.
Greece was very romantic.
Yeah, we went to Greece just this past May, and that was amazing.
Nice.
We have a lot of really good memories traveling.
We like Mexico too.
We just love experiencing new places.
That's awesome. So it sounds like you have trips that you take, just the two of you, without the kids.
We are intentional about that. Kind of at least every year.
Yeah,
pretty much every year we've done.
Good. Yeah.
Two of us. And we always have an amazing time of connection and intimacy and renewal.
Childcare is always a really hard thing for us. We've had to hire people to watch our children, and we've, relied on family. But at the end of the day, we used to use the kids as an excuse and not to travel or not to go on a date or not to do things. But, the best gift we can actually give our children is to and love parents that are happy, that provide that for them. And we realize that, and so we do go on trips with just us, and the kids are like, wait, is this a mom and dad trip or is this a family trip? And sometimes they're like, wait, we want to go there, but they, we take them on great trips as well.
Right.
But sometimes, in really crazy seasons of life, we may just get away to a hotel for the night locally. Or we live really close to the Oregon coast, so we might just get away for 2 nights, and just to reconnect and be taken out of our busy life and focus on each other. And so we do we're very intentional, and sometimes it takes some super creative planning to make that happen.
Right.
But our kids are thriving, and I believe, because of that.
Yeah. My head is like spinning with all these ideas of like little episodes about, how to take time for the two, for the couple and the kids stay home kind of thing. And so my head is spinning right now about some bonus episodes to come in the future.
Great.
Oh, I love that. So, okay, I'm single and I'm looking. What advice would you have for, me and others in my situation where, we want to meet somebody and look at each other the way that you guys are looking at each other, and I want to meet that person. What advice would you have for somebody like me?
Well, first off, I would, be intentional. What are you looking for? Because I always hear people are like, I have a lot of single girlfriends as well, and we have clients that are single, and I was like, what are you looking for? And sometimes they know, and sometimes they actually don't know. But as I said before, where you put your focus is where you're gonna start seeing change. So really thinking about, okay, what type of person do I want to meet? Because it's going to be at the forefront of your head. And then making sure it's also realistic. That's another thing. I think that, and this is probably going to get me in trouble with some of your listeners, but I firmly believe that The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, great shows, but they've given a lot of people unrealistic expectations of dating and relationships, and what it's like, and so I was like, okay, are you like doing the Bachelor version, or are you doing the realistic version of what you're looking for?
There's probably a few things that we could say what not to do.
Yeah, we could.
We've seen some destructive or bad patterns that don't seem to work.
Yeah.
Well-being, owning your own happiness, owning your own unhappiness,
Right.
If you wake up in the morning and you're feeling resentful, instead of taking that out on another person, own that and understand why you're feeling resentful, and get yourself in a place where you're happy, you're able to contribute. And that's definitely not easy. It's definitely not a thing that a lot of people do in our society. Our society is full of a bunch of whiners and entitled people.
Yeah.
But if you put two of those together in a couple, you get a crappy situation. So you put two people into a couple who make their own selves happy. Like I wrote recently about, does your spouse make you happy, right? So we say that all the time, you make me so happy, and it's cute, but the truth is, he doesn't make me do anything. I'm happy if I choose to be happy. And a depressed person, or a person who's always irritated, or a person who's always looking at this as their problem,
Right.
is choosing that behavior. Choosing that thinking. And so we have a process that we work through, but it's all in your head. It's choosing your thoughts, so that just maybe even this concept of thinking about, I got to own my own happiness. I can't say that she's making me happy or making me not happy. I got to be happy myself. And so you're basically coming to that relationship with a full cup, instead of saying, will you? I need my cup filled.
Right.
Two filled cups coming together, we can do a lot. But if we're just there to complete each other, like the old Jerry Maguire thing, right? It's romantic, but it's crap, Like, hey, I'm here because we're awesome. I'm awesome. Let's go do awesome things together. Would be a better Jerry Maguire line.
Yeah, so you talked a little bit about, you said you help people with that. Do you want to tell people what you guys do?
Yeah, would love to. Be good.
So we are marriage and relationship coaches, and we work with married couples, engaged couples, singles, and our company is called Marriage Architects. And what we believe in is building, a lot of people spend a lot of time building their dream home, but they don't actually put a lot of time into building their dream relationship. And if we did do that and we treated it like we were building our dream custom home, I think we would see a lot more fulfilled relationships. So really help people, we take them through a process, especially our couples, with a blueprint to their dream marriage. And then with singles, we work with them on helping them feel, because we have another person on staff. We actually have Megan, and she works, and we do as well with singles and helping them, going through their process, like any past baggage, any, that they've had from other relationships, really define what they're looking for in a relationship so that they can attract that person that they ultimately want and finding that fulfillment.
Yeah.
So.
It sounds like our audience is something to look forward to. It sounds like there might be some collaboration there in terms of a retreat that we will announce soon if that works out. Yeah, so definitely more things to look forward to. Yeah, so I want to take this time to thank you both very, very much for being a part of my podcast and sharing your love story. So thank you so much for taking time with me today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. This has been fun.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode. I really hope you enjoyed it. Do you have a love story? Or do you know somebody with a love story? If so, shoot me an email, kanukayi@gmail.com. Please go to my YouTube channel, Real Love, Real Stories Podcast, and subscribe. And also follow me on Instagram and Facebook, Real Love, Real Stories. Till next time.